Meanwhile, the other goblin reached its hideout and asked to have an audience with His Majesty. Inside the hideout, his leader asked the goblin about the money. The goblin apologized, as he wasn't able to rob anyone. The goblin then explained to his leader that Ragu-senpai was killed by a human. That human didn't even draw his sword, yet killed senpai. His leader laughed and said that it looks like that humans are starting a war with the goblins. Merlin entered the city bustling with activities. He paid his last 2 copper coins to pay the tariff, so he decided to look for a job. He remembered the past, when he stole the hero's armor. He sold the armor and lived in a private manner, and even hired butlers and maids. All his meals were prepared by chefs from high-end restaurants. He even visited race courses and bet extravagantly, though he had never won once. And when he came back to his senses, he realized that he spent all of his money, and even racked up a huge debt. And as he was used to his lifestyle, he continued to visit high-end restaurants and do dine dashes. In the end, he became a fugitive, so he started living a life on the run from his creditors. And now, his condition is so bad that the demon king of the first palace is turned into a busker. He was calling the people on the streets to come and watch his performance. He then used the repetition sidestep to attract the audience. He could hear cheers from the crowd, as everyone thinks that he is a martial artist. And after entertaining the crowd for a while, he asked them for some money. But the crowd quickly looked away and dispersed. He then noticed a rich-looking child on the side. He quickly stopped the child and said that the child has the bone structure of a kung fu genius. He asked for 2 copper coins from the child, and in return, he will teach him a skill. The child introduced himself as Henry, and told Merlin that he doesn't have any money, but Merlin didn't listen. According to Merlin, the child looks rich, so he will definitely have something. Merlin tried to scare the boy, and asked for 2 copper coins if he wants to live. Merlin then promised to teach him an invincible sword art if he can give just 2 coins. As soon as the boy heard about the sword art, he got excited, and asked what kind of sword art is he talking about. Merlin confidently replied that it's a quick draw. But Henry made fun of the skill, as even the regular disciples are uninterested in that skill. He then told Merlin to stop scamming people and find a job for himself. He then gave 2 candies to Merlin and said goodbye to him. Suddenly, Merlin noticed a bishop telling the story of his past. According to the bishop, Merlin killed an army of 100,000 people without any trace. He then noticed some girls saying that even the 233rd hero died after being ravaged by the ugly demon lord. Bishop then showed the holy book to the crowd and told them that the book will protect them from the demon lord and they can have it for just 10 gold coins. The crowd quickly bought all the books from the bishop. This angered Merlin, as they were scamming citizens, and the worst part is they are not giving him a cut after using his name like that. After a while, Merlin was at a pub and was requesting its owner to hire him as a waiter. In front of handsome Merlin, the owner couldn't refuse and said okay to it. The owner then asked Merlin if he is a traveler from outside the village. Merlin replied yes and said that the most he can work is 2 months, as he will have to continue traveling after that, as the curse on his heart hasn't lifted yet, so he still needs to search for strong enemies to extend his lifespan. The owner then did some calculations and told him that as a temporary staff, he will be paid 1 gold coin per month, accommodations and food included. Merlin gets shocked, as she is paying more than he imagined. The owner then told him that in the evening, her pub is only open to females, so Merlin needs to use sweet words and develop intimate relationship to sell them drinks. This shocked Merlin, and this is the moment when Merlin, the demon king of the first palace, realized that he had fallen so far in this other world. Now, he had no other choice but to use his body to sell drinks. And as the owner noticed that Merlin is hesitating, she said that she will pay him extra money when he will resign. The woes of the poor, the prideful demon king chose to yield after all and accepted the job. After a while, Merlin gets ready and started his training for the night. Meanwhile, our hero Alice is on her way to catch a gigolo from Scotland. A year ago, when she was robbed of the armor, she had to bear a great debt. In order to pay back her debt, Alice could only register as an adventurer. Though she is still in a heavy debt, she is the opposite of Merlin, as she managed to get a place to stay, and also could buy a dress or 2. And the moment she got to know about this gigolo, she accepted the mission, as the pay was 5,000 gold coins. She was happy, as catching a gigolo is piece of cake, but the face on the poster is ruined, so she will have to find him first. Meanwhile, in the pub, Merlin was so good in selling the drinks to the ladies. Suddenly, Henry entered the pub and said he is back. Henry was so shocked to see that useless man from before working at his mom's pub. Henry asked his mom that how can she hire a useless guy like him. Even though Merlin is angry with the child's behavior, he kept his smile as he can't be rude to the owner's child. Henry shouted at her mom and told her to stop hiring unknown people, as this is why the others keep bad-mouthing her. Merlin noticed that Henry's clothes are dirty, so he probably fought with the kids who bad-mouthed his mother. Merlin then put the sword on the table and said that if he wants to get those people to shut up, then he needs to be stronger. But Henry insulted Merlin's skill again and ran from there. The next day, Merlin was listening to a conversation between some adventurers. One of the members said to his partner that in this mission, his share will be 2,000 gold coins. His partner asked with a shocked look that why is he giving him a larger share. The man then looked at their other member and they both announced that after this mission, they are getting married. Merlin looked at them and knows that this is a death flag. Merlin then asked the group about this mission they are going for. One of the members informed that the quest is to kill 100 goblins and then cut their left ears. Merlin thought that if this is just a goblin hunt, then the group will be fine. At night, the group was fighting the goblins and have already killed 63 goblins. They just need 37 more, and then they will immediately retreat after that. Suddenly, a goblin jumped down from the cliff and killed the group's leader in an instant. A small goblin was sitting on the shoulder of the big one, who introduced himself as the Prime Minister Jejwu, a high-rank goblin magician. This shocked the adventurer as why a high-rank goblin is at such a place. Jejwu then attacked the man with a fire spell. The girl boosted his defense with magic, but as soon as the boy defended the magic attack, he got attacked by the big goblin. Jejwu then ordered the goblins to capture the woman. The man asked the goblins to leave his lover alone, so Jejwu then offered him a deal. Meanwhile, our hero Alice has reached the best inn to stay in this town. She opened the door and was welcomed by the owner. The owner then showed Alice her room and said that their top boy is going to perform tonight, so if she wants to watch, then she can come downstairs. As Alice was not interested in dance, so she entered her room, and at the same time our boy, Merlin, came out. Inside the room, Alice was remembering the time when she was captured by the pirates. At that time, she was saved by an unknown man, who alone defeated 17 fleets of the pirates. She has fallen in love with the unknown swordsman, and thinks that he must be very easygoing and generous person. She then remembered that she has to write a letter for her master. She wrote that she has been doing well, and she is so rich that she doesn't have to worry about church money or making rent. She added, she also gotten into a relationship between the Elgin's legendary swordsmaster. She then prayed to God to ensure that she never come across that bastard Merlin for the rest of her life. At the same time, Merlin sneezed and was confused, as every day, around this hour, he always sneezes. After a while, Alice came down to drink something, and noticed the women shouting for little Daisy. Meanwhile, Henry was angry and called all of them hoes. Alice tried to teach him that hoe is pretty harsh, and asked him to look at how well dressed they are. But Henry said that all of them are married, and yet they came here to enjoy. He then said that Alice is different, as she is pure and simple. Henry then noticed a gold plate on Alice's waist. He excitedly asked Alice if she is a gold-plate adventurer. He then asked her to teach him a skill, as he really wants to learn one. But Alice's skills are impossible to learn without the proper inheritance, so she pat his head, and asked him to drink milk to make his body strong, and then she promised to teach him the skills. Henry got happy and quickly drank a glass of milk. She then heard women shouting, as little Daisy has appeared. Henry told her this is the useless man who only knows quick draw. And even though he is completely useless, he's a complete chick magnet, the perfect example of gigolo. Alice quickly unsheathed her sword and went to capture the gigolo. Merlin thought she looks like that silly hero, but before, her breasts weren't so big. And as soon as Alice went close to Merlin, he grabbed her breast. He then realized that she is using the breast pads. Alice angrily attacked Merlin, but he easily dodged the attacks and asked her to stop, as they have known each other from a long time. He then removed his mask and said, "It is me, Alice." In a second, all of Alice's pain has returned to her. Merlin asked if she has forgotten all those lovely nights they spent together rowing the boat. Alice angrily said that because of him, she had to live in shame and attacked him. But Merlin grabbed her and said that killing him for only robbing is a little too far. Unable to do anything, Alice starts crying and told him how much she has suffered because of him. Merlin then heard the other women calling him a scumbag for doing bad things. Even Henry was looking at Merlin in a disgusted way and asked what he had done to Alice. Henry pointed towards Alice and told Merlin that he should be grateful that Alice liked him. But how dare you to take advantage of her love? Merlin thought that if they are going to misunderstand like this, then he won't be able to work here anymore. So in order to prevent that, he quickly hugged Alice and asked her to calm down as he will buy a drink for her. After a while, all the customers have left, and Alice and Merlin were sitting beside each other. Alice was happy as the iced milk in the pub is so good. Merlin insults her again, but Alice said that she has a boyfriend, Elgin's master swordsman, who will cut him in half. Meanwhile, the owner Martha was thinking that Merlin is popular with girls, as a high-ranked adventurer is his girlfriend. Martha then said that she is going to put Henry to sleep so they can take their time chatting. Alice then asked Merlin to return her armor and she will call it quit. But Merlin nervously said sorry and told her that he already sold the armor. And also he used the money to bet on the ponies at the royal racetrack. Alice was shocked, as the armor worth tens of millions of gold coins, but Merlin have spent it all so quickly. She grabbed Merlin and angrily told him that until he returned her armor, it's not over between them. But Merlin said that she knows who he is, and the moment he snatched it from her, the armor became his. Merlin said that the only thing he can offer in return for the armor is his life. But as he's no longer the Demon King, so they aren't enemies. But if she insists on taking his life, then it would no longer be the case. Alice froze in front of Merlin's murderous aura, but Merlin told her to relax as he won't cause any trouble in Martha's shop. Alice asked that he is strong, so why is he not stealing the armor back? Merlin replied that unlike humans, a contract is a sacred agreement to demons, so he will not break it. Alice replied that he just said that he's no longer a Demon King, so why is he hung up on something like this? But Merlin said that even though he is no longer a Demon King, but still he is the previous ruler of Pride, so he won't do it. Alice then told him that she is no longer a hero, as the armor was Church's property, and she need to pay them for the armor. And to do that, she need to accept S-rank missions that pay 10,000 gold coins for a single mission. But they are too dangerous to complete. Merlin muttered, reward of one mission is several 10,000 gold coins, and asked Alice if that's true. Alice said yes it is, as the S-rank mission are fraught with dangers. Merlin smiled and thinks that he finally found his next job. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like,